إن الحمد لله نحمده تعالى ونشكره ونستعين به ونسترشده ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وقائدنا ومرشدنا وحجتنا وشفيعنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة. عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله وطاعته وأحثكم على التمسك بهدي قرآنه وسنة نبيه. فقد قال الله جل من قائل: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. صدق الله العظيم. My dear children, my dear young parents, my dear prospective parents, my dear couples who are considering to be married, my dear brothers and sisters, today the prevailing news is about COVID-19 and the different variants and the Omicron and the people who are rushing to mass vaccination sites trying to be vaccinated and receive the booster, and there is a state of panic. But I tell you, inshallah, sooner than later, God willing, the virus will eat itself up. It will be stabilized. But there is a kind of danger that is passing among us unnoticed. And if you recall last week, I said I want to talk about something that is extremely serious. There are things sometimes that we let go and we don't pay the necessary attention. We do not deal with them as carefully as we should. There are three imminent dangers that come at humanity and especially at Muslims in such a way that if we do not do anything about them within 20 years, as one very famous Muslim social scientist predicted, if we do not do anything about them within 20 years, our children will not be practicing Islam the same way as we do. Today they are talking about more than 14,000 people in Ontario. And yesterday it was at the 5,000 mark, which means that it is increasing exponentially. But the danger of the three variables I'm going to share with you is increasing at a much higher rate unnoticed because we are paying attention to other things. So please, sisters and brothers, let's pay attention to the three dangers. Number one, atheism. Number two, acceptance of people choosing their own gender preference and accepting a lifestyle that they choose, which is not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. I have to be very discreet because we have children with us. And number three danger is the increase in the use or abuse of drugs. It's becoming so prevalent that now people are saying, well, as long as these are adults, they can do whatever they want to do, like they accepted it in Holland, in Denmark, in Belgium, in other countries. They say, you choose a lifestyle, you live it. Your life is yours. Now, it's not only your life is yours and you can do with it what you want. If it becomes a thing that many individuals will feel from each other, then the way we look at life will become different, will be so different from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intended it to be in al-hayat al-dunya. These are three very dangerous things that are now going among us, and we are letting them increase. I know I cannot talk about all those three dangers. I will talk about one of them, and the other two, inshallah, will be considered in future khutbah. Now, I shared with you the statistics before that in North America, 23% of Muslim youth between the ages of 18 and 28 do not associate with Islam anymore. 23%. This is a number that should scare, all of us. And the thing is, the religious identity that we would like our children to have is threatened. Now, the religious identity is of 3 levels. The first one is of those people who have Islamic beliefs but they don't practice. The second level is of people who have Islamic beliefs and they act upon them. They are practicing Muslims. The third, but they keep to themselves. The third and highest level is of those practicing Muslims who love to participate in community affairs. They love to help in activities and programs and projects. They want to be part of the masjid, of the Islamic center, of the Muslim association. They want to be part of the community. 3 levels of identifying with Islam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that before we even define them, because He told us in Surah Fussilat, ayah number 33, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started with the highest level first, then mentioned the second, then mentioned the lowest one. مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Who is better than a person who engaged in calling people to Allah, in making activities that proclaim Islam, in being dynamic, da'a ilallah, wa amila salihan, translated beliefs into good deeds, wa qala innani min al-muslimin, just said, I'm a Muslim, but did not act. These are the 3 things mentioned in the Quran. But we know Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam warned us that the time will come upon us. And after I mentioned this hadith that is narrated by Muslim and by At-Tirmidhi through the authority of Abu Hurairah, we will know that the time is upon us. بادروا بالأعمال أي الصالحة فتنا كقطع الليل المظلم يصبح الرجل فيها مؤمنا ويمسي كافرا أو يمسي مؤمنا ويصبح كافرا يبيع دينه بعرض من الدنيا قليل. It says, be quick to engage yourselves in doing good deeds, in living your Islam, because a time will come upon you which is filled with hardships and trials and tribulations, whereby you will see some people wake up in a state of submission and Islam, but they end up their day in a state of rejection of faith. Or the other way around, they may go to bed feeling believers and submitters, and they will wake up on a state of rejection of faith. A person is prepared to give up his or her deen for a worthless worldly gain. And we've seen now in many countries that we thought will never accept that. But now they are accepting it, and كَمَا تَكُونُوا يُوَلَّ عَلَيْكُمْ. And now the people themselves are accepting to have those bars in Muslim countries, in having parties that are anything but Islamic. All kinds of it is upon us. We are living those days. And when 23% of youth are rejecting the fact that they can relate to deen, they are not accepting the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala huwa al-khaliq, is the creator. This is dangerous. If we let go, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we will stand before Him, and we will, wallahi we will, He will ask us, what did you do? كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. Now, because time is not on our side, I just want to share how can we reverse that. We are not here to talk about the problem only. And I did not want to just be emotional and tell you, I think, no. Research is showing the following. Number one, that can reverse this. And by the way, when I will share the research, I will tell you, but Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us the conclusion before research in the 21st century. He told us that way before. But let me tell you, number one, that research now is showing can affect the religious identity of children. Yes, you guessed it, it's the family. It's the parents. It's the parents, number one. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us that. He said in a hadith reported by Bukhari and Muslim through the authority of Abu Hurairah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, كل مولود يولد على الفطرة. Every human being is born with a pure state of existence. Pure, that is pure submission to Allah subhanahu. Every human being. And it is the parents who will inject the religious identity, be it Judaism or Christianity or Sabiism. It is the parents who do that. And that's what research now, and a study that is referred to as National Study of Youth and Religion. I'll repeat. National Study of Youth and Religion, published in the Journal of Study of the Science of Religion. Yes. Journal of the Science of the Study of the Science of Religion. Now this study showed that 34% of adolescents 34% of adolescents talk with their parents about religious matters twice a week or more than that. 34%. 28% talk to their parents or with their parents about religious matters maybe once a month. And 38% do not like to talk with their parents about religious matters or about anything at all. 38%. Meaning that 66% of adolescents, and by the way, the study showed that there's no statistical difference between youth that belong to different faith traditions. So youth who are Jewish, Christian, Buddhists, Hindu, Muslim, they're all the same. They show there's no difference. So let us zero in on Muslim adolescents. So the same thing. 66% either talk once a month or they don't like to talk at all with their parents about religion, about Islam. They don't like to do that. Even though parents, as the study showed, have the most influence. They can reverse, they can instill the religious identity in their children. And the study showed that, this religious identity comes first because of conversation with their parents. Children are saying that when parents speak with them, it shapes their identity. And number two, adolescents say that they don't like it when parents lecture their children about religion. And there are many parents who are unidirectional in conversation. They like to tell their children. They don't like to hear from them. If the children will start to express themselves, they cut them off. And the children immediately, they shut off. The parents may continue talking, but the children are not listening. Do you know that? The children are saying that in the survey, in the study, meaning they like the conversation to be bi-directional, give and take. Even if the children will tell us something we don't like to hear, let them say it. Let them feel comfortable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us how the conversation between parents and children should be. He did? Yes, he did. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah As-Saffat, You know Prophet Ibrahim, don't you? You know his son, Prophet Ismail, don't you? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave wahy to Ibrahim that he should sacrifice his son Ismail, and Ismail knew that his father, the prophet, the messenger, receives wahy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ibrahim came to Ismail and look at the conversation. You know, a conversation that will never ever take place between parents and children, because the subject matter is something that we cannot comprehend. But Allah made this extreme case to show us how parents talk with their children and children talk with their parents. قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك فانظر ماذا ترى. Oh my beloved son, I'm seeing in my dream that I'm sacrificing you. What do you think? Now Ismail responded, قال يا أبت افعل ما تؤمر ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصابرين. He responded, Ismail, to his father Ibrahim, said, oh my dear father, ya abati, do exactly what you are commanded to do. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling you this. Even if I am the person that you have to sacrifice, do exactly what Allah told you to do. ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصابرين. You will find me, God willing, very patient. You know, this is the kind of give and take. And the study showed as well that the most powerful influence comes from parents who have homogeneous lifestyle, where they are happy, they don't fight with each other, they may disagree with each other, but behind closed doors. They don't show their parents that they are enemies. These families influence the religious identity of their children the most. Then single parent families. Then divorced parents. Divorce is poison. Divorce is horrible. And the children pay the price. You don't think of what will happen to your children when you just want to let go because you don't like it. Simply because something you could do about work around them. But no. You don't think of those 4 or 5 children who will grow up with no religious identity. And finally, we will talk about it. Not that I am now giving my final verdict, but the study showed, not about Muslims only, but about everybody, that interfaith marriages destroy religious identity. They destroy religious identity. So before you think of marrying someone, well, I love her. I'm madly in love with her. Now, if you think that infatuation will determine how happy you will be for the rest of your life, good luck. Good luck. Life is more than infatuation. Therefore, you have to think about those children who will be lost. Is it Christmas or Eid? Is it going to visit these grandparents on Christmas, or no, I'm not going because I want to take them for. What are you going to do? This is just one example. Circumcision or no circumcision. And the list goes on and on and on. So families are number one. Therefore, before I mention the other 3 in the second khutbah, I say, that's why, if you recall, when I started my khutbah, I said that my dear, young parents, my dear prospective couples, my dear, because you can still make a big difference. And for those who have children, try before it is too late. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فيا فوز المستغفرين من دعاء الله سبحانه وتعالى. الحمد لله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Brothers and sisters, Allah is my witness. These are messages. If you take them lightly, you will be responsible on the day of judgment. My khutbah, I don't like to make it just basically spiritual navigation. I like it to touch our lives and hearts. And if you don't act, I would say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, I deliver the message. So you as a family being number one, and this is what the Quran and the Hadith and the research showed, you can do something about it. You can. But if you choose to just work 2-3 jobs because you want to earn as much as your friend or your brother or your sister because you're competing, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the only valid competition is in goodness and in faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ, compete in goodness. This is the real competition, not in making money. Now, the second influencer, which still parents can help with, but by itself, it's number 2. It's who your son or daughter befriend. Peer pressure is number 2 after family. That's what research shows. But research, well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that in Surah Al-Furqan, وَيَوْمَ يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ, not on one hand, but on both. يَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي اتَّخَذْتُ مَعَ الرَّسُولِ سَبِيلًا يَا وَيْلَتَا لَيْتَنِي لَمْ أَتَّخِذْ فُلَانًا خَلِيلًا لَقَدْ أَضَلَّنِي عَنِ الذِّكْرِ بَعْدَ إِذْ جَاءَنِي وَكَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِلْإِنسَانِ خَذُولًا. That on the day when the person who missed the way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will end up biting both his hands out of remorse, out of feeling bad, horrible, would say, I wish that I had made my path parallel to that of the Prophet, that is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I wish I did not partake so and so as my friend. He ended up swaying me from the right path. And shaitan will give up on you when you stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in a hadith narrated by Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, and is muttafaqun alayh, agreed upon hadith. Everybody narrated this hadith. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us, إِنَّمَا مَثَلُ الْجَلِيسِ الصَّالِحِ وَجَلِيسِ السُّوءِ كَحَامِلِ الْمِسْكِ وَنَافِخِ الْكِيرِ. That the example, and it starts with innama, meaning verily, pay attention. It's not just mathalu, no, innama, meaning this is serious. That the example of a good friend and a bad friend is like someone who sells perfume and someone who's a blacksmith. Now Rasulullah ﷺ is not saying blacksmiths are bad people. He's saying no. But the nature of their work is that they blow onto iron dust. They get dirty. The smell in their workshop is horrible. Everything is bad. So he's saying, compare that with someone who sells musk and perfume and someone who works as a blacksmith. You can't compare them. So the good friend is like someone who sells perfume. The bad friend is someone who is inside the workshop of a blacksmith. Be careful who you choose. But parents who are so close in their relationship with their children, the children would say, Mom, Dad, can you help me choose my friends? But if you are the dictator who tells them that you should pray, the child would say, no, when I choose my friend in my bubble, I'll make sure I will not let my parents, because they will repeat their unpleasant, circumstance with me. I don't like that. Number 3, influence. So help choose the friends. Make sure that the friends are those who invite to the masjid, are those who sit with the Quran and read Surah Al-Kahf together, are those who go to the halaqat, these are the friends you want for your children. not the friends who will just basically go to a movie, come on, this movie is earning millions of dollars, but you see, it's Maghrib time, you can pray afterwards, don't do it. These are not the friends you want for your children. Number 3, again, it's you indirectly. If you instill in your son or daughter that we want you to be a doctor, and we want you to be the best in football and basketball, so sports and academic achievements will eat away from religious identity if you don't make it together. And number 4, how many times do I have to repeat talking about it? But research shows that it's the truth. Social media, the telephone, and now it's becoming so widespread. We will talk about it more and more and more. So in this order, family, peers, choices of academia and sports, and number 4, social media. These are taking away religion from our children. In 20 years, if we let things the way they are, our children may not be following the same Islam that came from Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and from Allah. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. My dear brothers and sisters, I mentioned it last week. Our brother Hussein Jalil, who is a boyger, from China, has been behind bars for 15 years. We need to have every single one of us, everyone, sign the petition. We have to tell our government, he's a Canadian. He's a Canadian. Why Michael were brought back to Canada after negotiations, and Hussein is left like Yusuf was left behind bars when his 2 friends came out, they forgot about him. We don't want that to happen. We want to repeat what happened to Yusuf with our brother Hussein Jalil. Make sure you sign the petition outside. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وخطايانا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم علمنا من ديننا ما جهلنا وذكرنا منه ما نسينا وكن معنا ولا تكن علينا عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون